Hi, my name is Ryan Wilkinson, President of the Great Lakes Athletic Trainers Association. Thank you for taking a few minutes to watch this video presentation regarding the proposal to restructure GLATA. We want to make sure that our membership has as much information as possible as we advance towards our business meeting in New Orleans at the NATA convention. There's a lot of information that is also available on our website, as well as in our recent e-blast, and I would encourage you to review all of that information as well as the information in this presentation. Essentially, what this is looking at is restructuring GLATA into two NATA districts. A lot of information, again, is available on that website, glata.org/district-governance, and I would encourage you to find as much information on there as you need to if you have questions or need further information. The board is certainly open to hearing from you and would love to answer questions that you have after reviewing the information that's posted there. The central theme of this whole process is the voice, representation, and leadership opportunities that we have within our district at the NATA level as compared to other districts nationally. Currently, we have 20% of the voting membership of the NATA, and yet our representation, voice, and leadership opportunities are in line with 10% of the NATA. And that really is the central theme of this process. This process is outlined in the NATA bylaws. We'll talk about that in a second. And we'll also review sort of where we are currently, where we're moving for next steps in terms of what would happen next. And then again, a lot of information about our upcoming membership business meeting, where there will be a vote on this. However, it is simply a vote to call for an electronic ballot. So this will not be the final vote in New Orleans. The NATA bylaws prescribe this step in the process. Briefly, the NATA bylaws provide this in their document. If for at least 12 consecutive months, a district constitutes 20% or more of the NATA, they may then vote to split itself into two districts. That's essentially what we are considering here. We do meet the 20% requirement. We have that confirmed by the NATA. And again, that simply would call for the question to then have an electronic ballot in November that would then be the vote where the full membership has the ability to weigh in on this issue. That then requires a 2/3 approval in order to then move towards the NATA Board of Directors, and we'll talk more about that process as we go. Again, the main theme with this is representation and voice and leadership opportunities that are equal to other districts. Currently, in District 4, we have one set of leadership. That basically means the district director, as well as NATA committee representatives on any of the district-based committees from the NATA. There are 26 committees that are district-based, meaning that they have a representative from each of the 10 districts. We currently have 7,200 members, 7,250 members, and we have one set of leadership. If you look at other districts, on average, all of the other 9 districts, on average, have one set of leadership, but on average, they only have 3,142 members, less than half of the membership in District 4. So again, while we have the numbers, quantity of members, we do not have the equal voice, representation, and leadership opportunities that other districts have nationally. That is really what this proposal attempts to address. 20% of the membership means that 1 in 5 athletic trainers are from District 4. And yet again, when you look at the way the NATA is structured, currently we are only represented with a 1 in 10 structure, 10% out of that, the way that the NATA is structured based on the districts and their board of directors. To put that visually, this is what that looks like in terms of, again, District 4 on the left, one leader, we have 7,250 members. On average, then all the other districts are listed there as an average on the right. One set of leadership for, again, an average of 3,142 members. So what would this look like in terms of the proposal and how the districts would be structured? The board looked at a number of different configurations and landed on what is visualized here, with District 4 staying on the right as Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, and District 11 then being a new district on the left, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois. What you see on the right then is the breakdown of membership that would fit within both of these districts. So we take then basically our 7,250 members, and we then look at how those would get divided between District 4 and District 11. And notice we fit right in the middle nationally, fourth and fifth largest, as opposed to by far and away the largest district as we are currently. This presents, again, an opportunity for us to increase our voice, our representation, and our leadership opportunities to better fall in line with other districts nationally. A lot of information on our organizational chart here. This is essentially how we are structured currently. A lot of information. Again, we won't walk through all of it. This is also available on our website, and so I would encourage you to spend more time reviewing this if you are interested. And again, please feel free to reach out to any of us on the executive board if you have questions or need clarification on what any of this means. The GLATA functions are listed there on the left. And again, those are functions of the association. Those are things that GLATA continues to do. One of the things I'll highlight is the annual meeting. The annual meeting will not go away if we have an additional district. And we'll talk about that in a bit. The district functions then are there on the right in terms of what it means to be a district within the NATA. And you'll notice that is how the communication happens from the district to the National Association, is through the district director and the 26 NATA committee representatives. That is essentially, again, our communication structure to the National Association. Within the GLATA Executive Board then, that's the larger oval in the middle, President, President-elect, Vice President, and then District Director, Secretary, and Treasurer from District 4. And then we do have, again, state representatives from each of the 6 states. So that's how we're currently structured. Financial structure on the bottom left just indicates how the dues disbursements occur, and it's fairly straightforward from the NATA to the district to then each of the 6 states. If you look at the proposed structure, what you'll notice is a doubling of the district piece. So District 4, again, continues to be there on the right. Now we are adding District 11, which is there on the left. Notice it's a doubling of the district director and all of the 26 NATA committee representatives, as well as, again, the secretary and treasurer that fit within the GLATA executive board. State representatives won't change. Positions like president, president-elect won't change. We did create the positions of GLATA secretary and GLATA treasurer because there will be some things specific to the association that will still need to be managed, and we have added those into the mix. Essentially, there are 4 additional positions in this proposed structure as compared to our current structure. Notice again the functions, upper left and upper right, did not change at all. We don't see the GLATA functions changing. We don't see the annual meeting changing. We don't see how we process awards and scholarships and grants and all of those features that the association currently handles. We do not see those changing. We just, again, now see an additional district falling within our boundaries. The states then would be Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois, again, on the left in District 11, District 4 on the right, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. When it comes to the financial structure, the main thing to notice here is that the NATA would disperse dues to the districts. That's essentially what they currently do now. The districts then would transfer funds. The district portion of those dues would be transferred to a GLATA account. Again, exactly what happens currently. The districts would then disperse the state portions of the dues to the individual states. The green lines and arrows represent the GLATA funding that is available in terms of grants and investment disbursements that GLATA has been able to distribute based on the healthy surplus at the end of the fiscal year, as well as some of the investments that have advanced over the years. So again, we don't see GLATA functions changing, and the main idea is to add that district representation to assist again with that voice representation and leadership opportunities to bring us in line with other districts nationally. Main question that a lot of people will ask is, how much will this cost? And what we've estimated is that this would cost approximately $15,000 to $20,000 of additional expenses to the GLATA annual budget. Really, what that accounts for would be those 4 new members that would be on the executive board. There are funds available for them to support their travel to the GLATA annual meeting, the NATA annual meeting, as well as our GLATA executive board meetings. Those would be the main areas of increase. It's difficult to estimate exactly what those will look like because it really heavily depends on where those individuals are traveling from. If they need a flight to get to a GLATA meeting versus mileage, and even where they're flying from certainly has fluctuations in cost. And so we did our best to estimate that based on previous expenses and feel that that range of $15,000 to $20,000 is realistic. However, one thing to keep in mind to put this in perspective is that over the past 3 fiscal years, GLATA has ended the year with an average budget surplus above what was expected, a surplus of approximately $110,000. This allows for those funds then, per policy, to be rolled into and reinvested into GLATA investment accounts. Those investment accounts then are where those GLATA-related funds have come from in terms of state disbursements and additional initiatives that GLATA is able to fund to help state associations, to help membership in general, and that certainly would continue. The chart at the bottom just represents the average over the past 3 years, year-end surplus of approximately $110,000. Under this proposal, that would decrease to approximately $90,000. But again, that represents a very healthy surplus, which allows us to continue what we have come to value in terms of the financial support that GLATA can provide to the membership and to the state associations. As far as our timeline, again, as I mentioned, the NATA has officially verified that we meet the 20% requirement, so we're able to move forward there. At our board meeting in March, the GLATA Executive Board advanced this process to the next step, which includes a face-to-face vote at the District 4 business meeting of District 4 voting members. This will occur at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, June 27th in New Orleans at the Convention Center, Great Hall B. As a member, we'd encourage you to attend. As a voting member, we'd encourage you to attend and participate in this vote. However, this vote is simply to call for an electronic ballot. This is not the final vote. The NATA bylaws stipulate this in-person vote occurs first, and that just simply calls for an electronic ballot. That ballot, the electronic ballot, would then be concurrent with our elections in November this year. And that's where the full membership would then have the opportunity to engage in this vote and determine where this moves from there. That process requires a 2/3 approval of those electronic votes cast. And if that happens, then this moves to the NATA Board of Directors, where they would vote on whether to finally approve this process. One thing to highlight, this is no longer a GLATA Executive Board decision. We are here to make sure that membership has as much information as they can and as you need to make a well-informed decision. It is a full membership decision. The membership will vote in New Orleans as to whether or not to have a full electronic vote. If approved, it will move to that electronic vote in November, and the full membership will have the opportunity to vote at that point electronically as to whether this continues. So again, our job as leadership, we feel, is to make sure that we're providing as much information as we can to help the membership make a well-informed decision. One of the key things that we spent some time working on is a development of a frequently asked questions document. This is available on our website, and I'd encourage you to dive into that. There's a lot of great information in there, questions that have been raised to us directly, as well as questions that we anticipate the membership having as we progress through this discussion. A couple of them are highlighted here. I'm not going to dive into all of them, The main advantages we feel are the increased voice representation and leadership opportunities. The disadvantages really we feel would be the cost. I mentioned again the estimated cost of approximately $15,000 to $20,000 in terms of the annual budget. How will this impact GLATA in the annual meeting? We don't feel that it will. A number of members have expressed concern that if we divide the district, that the annual meeting will go away, it will change, it will move. None of that will happen, at least in the short term. We have contracts in place for the GLATA annual meeting to stay at the Westin Hotel in Wheeling through 2022. And so that certainly will not change through then. If this proposal is finally approved through all the steps, then the GLATA Executive Board would take into account whether or not we would want to continue hosting the annual meeting at that same location moving forward. And we'll know more about that process as this discussion plays out. There will not be a dues increase as part of this proposal. Dues increases can happen in the future, though. NATA has the opportunity to do that. GLATA has the opportunity to do that, as well as the state associations. But under this proposal, there is no increase in dues. And I mentioned the organizational structure and what that executive board would look like. Again, a lot more information is available on our website, and I'd encourage you to review that, frequently asked questions, as well as direct access to those organizational charts that helped, again, provide a lot more information. As far as the voting process, again, we're moving forward with a in-person vote in New Orleans at our business meeting. All certified and certified retired members of District 4 are eligible to vote. If you will be in attendance, we just ask that you bring your NATA convention name badge. That just will serve as the easiest way to verify your voting status. If you do not have that, you're able to provide verification another way through the NATA website. You can either print that and bring it with you, or on site you can pull up either on a phone or tablet or computer the website verification process, and that will be sort of the formal way to verify a membership voting status. The motion that we are proposing in New Orleans will read, I move to call for an electronic ballot in November 2018 of District 4 voting members on the question of whether to split into 2 districts. That's essentially all that we're voting on again in November. In New Orleans. If this is passed, majority of votes cast in New Orleans, then it moves again to the full membership electronically in November as part of our elections. So next steps moving forward then. Pending the outcome of the vote, we already have a bylaws work group who has been formed to draft bylaws that will discuss the relationship between GLATA, District 4, and District 11. Mike Sullivan, President-elect, Laura Harris, Michael Mole, and Julie Rochester are working on that group. And again, pending the outcome of the vote in New Orleans, this group will work towards a document presented to the executive board by September 1st. And then this will allow us to provide additional information to the membership in advance of that November vote. And again, our role, we feel, as executive board members and as leaders within this association, is to make sure that we provide as much information to the membership as we can and as the membership needs to make a very well-informed decision when it comes time for that voting process to occur. Lastly, similar to what I mentioned before, the frequently asked questions, for example, a number of those questions were specifically raised by members over the past few weeks and months. And so that has helped draft some of that information. Please continue to provide us with those questions and that feedback. We would love to hear from you. Our contact information is available on the GLATA website. You're welcome to contact us and ask questions. We will also have the opportunity to have a discussion in New Orleans in advance of this vote in person. And again, that business meeting will occur Wednesday, June 27th, 5:30 p.m. At the Convention Center, Great Hall B. So thank you for taking some time to watch this video presentation. Again, please feel free to reach out to us if you have questions. And we hope to see you in New Orleans at our District 4 business meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.